Hey, there we go. Do the old chat check real quick before we jump into this one. Want to be a full episode, I feel like. A lot to talk about. Nobody's even mentioned the SRX deal where Haley Deegan is going to run the full season of SRX. Brad Keselowski is going to run the full season of SRX. Bobby Labonte going to run the full season of SRX, and somebody else, Ryan J. Newman, is going to run the full season of SRX. So the SRX stuff is all right. The chat's working. All right, right on. So the SRX news is actually getting overshadowed by all the NASCAR rules news. Got rid of stage breaks or at least the cautions. The stage breaks are still there. They got rid of the cautions at road courses and just various other rules. They got rid of the the Melon Man move. So that is one of them as well. But all kinds of other things. The top 30 in points, you no longer have to be top 30 in points if you get a win. You're automatically in if you get a win. Just so all kinds of really interesting stuff from NASCAR. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys think about it. But let's see here. Let me before I get into these, let's start this off with a poll. Getting rid of the Hail Melon. Good or bad? I am interested to see what everybody thinks about that. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. Chrome Diesel, what's up? Mark Barnum, what's going on, man? 2 Acres and a Mule, what's up? In the house. One Wise Guy, Brad Full Time. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The SRX stuff is actually really cool. I can't believe it's been overshadowed. I wonder if NASCAR did this on purpose. I wonder if NASCAR got leaked out that SRX was dropping some news, so NASCAR decided to drop all their rule news on the same day. I always wonder about stuff like that because you feel like it sort of gets the SRX stuff pushed down, which I didn't have time to make the SRX video, so that's going to be coming out tomorrow. But I will make a video about the SRX getting all these drivers. I think it's a huge move for them. I think they're making a statement, and I do think that NASCAR put this news out strategically to sort of take away some of their thunder for what they were announcing there. Keselowski 2023 SRX Championship favorite, says Chrome Diesel. So that would be cool. He would be Nope, because Tony Stewart won it. I was about to say he would be the first one that won both of them, the NASCAR championship and but Tony Stewart, look, he won the IndyCar championship. He won the SRX championship, the NASCAR champion. Yeah, he got it all done. I'm pretty sure he won. I'm not a huge dirt aficionado. I like watching dirt, but I'm sure he's won some type of championship in dirt as well. So Tony Stewart has got all those first. Might be interesting now, says 2 Acres and a Mule. Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Talking about the SRX series, I think it was already interesting. I think that's just going to amp it up some more. One Wise Guy says, "Can you speak about the rain tires?" Well, they're gonna run rain tires on the flatter short tracks. So there will possibly be some short track rain tires. I personally think it's stupid. I don't think it's going to work at all. But that being said, as always, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that, and I hope it turns out really good. Cassandra Keller, what's going on? Mark Barnum says Deegan full-time SRX. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. It's going to be a cool deal. Like the SRX news, I feel like NASCAR released all their stuff on purpose to sort of try to bury that news. Michael Honeychuck, what's up, man? TJ Moorshed says, just make the rules a little simpler and take away stage cautions away from all the tracks that allow rain tires at least. Yeah, I think they should just get rid of. I'm okay with the stages as long as you get rid of the stage cautions, and I think you can get rid of them at every single track. I don't see where it really benefits any of the competition at any track, to be totally honest with you. So I'd be okay with getting rid of the cautions at every single track, rain tires or not. Danny and Gray's Cars and Toys says, "What's up, brother? What's up, Danny? Hope you're doing good today." 2 Acres and a Mule says, "Abolish the stage caution altogether." I'm with you on that one. I think it would create better racing, more strategy. You wouldn't necessarily have to have the fastest car. You could start playing strategy into races other than our road courses and stuff like that as well. Howdy from the Great White North, says Robin Marks. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? Old Home Guy says, "Good evening." What's up, Old Home Guy? Hope you're doing good. Say Kyle, not Cal. Getting rid of the Hail Melon is a terrible idea until somebody hits the gate and splits the car in two, like Waltrip. A good call by NASCAR. That being said, if they don't get rid of it, all they have to do is put a seal on the gates. Most of these tracks have tunnels anyway. All you have to do is put a seal on the gate, so something like that couldn't happen. So there is a way around it to make it, not necessarily dangerous. People are stuck. Ross Chastain thought outside of the box. NASCAR could have easily just thought outside of the box and said, hey, you know what? We can just put a safety feature over there by where the gates open up so that something like that wouldn't happen. But they just decided to take the easy way out and say we're going to ban the Hail Melon. That being said, from that perspective, if you're not going to put a safety feature on the gates to make them seal, it is the safer option, but it still sucks. Like, let's call it like it is. It was a cool move. It put NASCAR on the map for like a month. NASCAR was one of the top trending things for a month, and that'll never happen again now. But it's, you can make the argument it's for safety. I understand where you're coming from. I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong, but I'm saying there are other ways around it to make it safer. They could have attempted to do that too. So it is what it is. I'm not like tore up about it, but it does stink. It was such a cool move. I don't know. Maybe because I was there live and it was just the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life. Let's see, 2 Acres and a Mule. I think they always drop news after the 23. 2 Acres and a Mule after the 24 hours. I got you. That could be it. So it might just be a mistiming by SRX. But I like to stir things up and cause controversy and start rumors. I'm just playing. But it is weird timing that the SRX has a big announcement and NASCAR has a bunch of big announcements at the same time. It does seem like they're trying to drown them out a little bit. But you could be absolutely right. It could just be a happy coincidence or unhappy coincidence, depending on what side you're on the fence on with that. And Aaron Flynn says, I take pictures of good food too. What kind of sub was that? That's a Publix sub. That was the jerk turkey with honey mustard. I was trying to get the chicken tender sub because everybody told me I was supposed to get the chicken tender sub, but they had sold out of chicken tenders, and I wasn't going to wait an extra 10 minutes because there was some vegan girl in front of me in line, and she was taking like 20 minutes to order her sub. She acted like she had never ordered a sub before in her life, and like her ordering this vegan sub, well, she had to tell you she was vegan 6 times. Her ordering this vegan sub was like an act of Congress, and she was acting like there was nobody else in line. So my blood pressure was getting a little high, so I was not going to wait the extra 10 minutes for the chicken tenders. This is a story that nobody asked for, but here we go. We're going to tell it anyway. So I got the Caribbean jerk turkey with the honey mustard, and it was banging. One thing, I was unfamiliar with the Publix subs. They call them pub subs because it's a Publix sub. It's a Florida thing, apparently. But just get the regular. Don't get the whole. I'm a big dude, right? I can eat a lot of food. If you get the whole Publix sub, that is a heck of a meal. I can only eat half of it, so and I had to save the other half for later, which was fine. Worked out really well because it was a long drive back. So I ended up eating it later at another rest stop. But yeah, they're definitely really big subs. They're really heavy subs. So if you're just getting it for yourself, just get the regular. Don't get the whole because it's more than enough to fill you up. I promise. One wise guy says, sounds like they attempted to fix the exhaust issue with the rocker box adjustment. I think so too. I think they're trying to let more air pass up underneath the car to sort of cool that thing down, cool that muffler down. So hopefully they'll get that figured out. Chrome Diesel says, I think eliminating the top 30 eligibility is stupid. You can win a race, finish the last 25, 26 races of the season, and still have a shot to win the title. There's no legitimacy anymore, especially because the last race is Daytona. So now everybody is going to drive like a complete maniac at Daytona, even more so than they normally do, because let's just call it like it is, like the Spire cars, the Live Fast cars, they've got a chance to make the playoffs and take a playoff spot away from a driver that most likely earned it. And let's be honest, there's like Eric Easton, I'm just repeating basically what he said, but I totally agree with him. There's 16 cars and there's only like 30 some cars that are even remotely fast enough to contend for the championship anyway. So over half the field is already in there anyway. So it's not even special to make it. And now you're going to knock some of them out, possibly with a plate race or a super speedway race. Whatever. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but from the actual, just the chaos of storytelling and stuff like that, you can tell NASCAR is doing it for entertainment, right? So it is what it is. And I also agree with him when he said that, It's only probably going to come into play once in a while. Anyway, so it is what it is. But he had a good take on that, and I wanted to call that out. Delmar Kaufman said rules are made to be broken. Yeah, so there you go. Also, it's a judgment call by NASCAR, so that's going to make for another interesting layer to it. If somebody does it and they're a really popular driver and NASCAR lets them get away with it, we're going to go down that rabbit hole. Somebody's already said so. So the Hendrick drivers will be able to get away with it, and the other drivers will not be able to get away with it. So people have already started calling that out. John Lewis said, "I'll give Deegan. I'll give it to Deegan at Daytona. She showed a tad of talent. She's a good race car driver. It just has not worked out for her in the Truck Series. Now I'm not saying she's like she's not the next Kevin Harvick or anything like that, but she's a good race car driver." Old home guy says, "Does SRX have more than a 30 car field?" No, SRX only has like, what is it, like 12 or 13, maybe 15, 16 cars, something like that. It's not a huge field. 2 Acres and a Mule, she's capable, in my opinion, just overhyped by half the fan base and overhated by the other. Yeah, she came in with a big last name. She comes in at a time during when the country is divided with identity politics. So she's got two angles, two different types of fan bases pushing her. And the people that don't like those two particular fan bases, they don't like, daddy's money, and one might not like identity politics. So you're getting equal backlash. So at the end of the day, she's just a driver trying to make her way in Truck Series, but she's got all this other bull crap around her, and she's just trying to make it as a race car driver. So it is what it is. She doesn't necessarily push either one of them, but she does get on social media and promote herself. And there's another group of people that have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it because she's trying to get sponsors. And I think this is the new model that all race car drivers should actually take. She's got that part of it figured out. She just needs to get some good finishes in the Truck Series. She's gotten good finishes in every other thing she's ever driven, though. So I think the good finishes in the Truck Series will come, including the IMSA car she just drove this weekend. All right, now that I've simped for Hailie Deegan, let's get on to the next one here. Rob Mark says, since I'm a Ross fan now, Kurt's gone. I'm saying the rules need to be in place. It was cool, one of a kind now, but you get more people trying, it will be bad real fast. I think honestly, another person trying it and failing would be the best thing that could ever happen to it, because all you have to do is throw the block, and it will go away. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's that big of a deal anyway. It was really cool. I'm glad it happened. But if you're going to make the safety argument, I get where you're coming from. So it's one of those deals. It is what it is. Yeah. So I get it if you're saying it's a safety issue, but they could make the move safe if they wanted to. I just think they're taking the easy way out, and I don't think it would have been people thinking that it was such an easy move. That's what I guess really irritates me. I'd like to see any other driver try to do it and actually pull it off, because I'm guaranteeing you 9 times out of 10 it's not going to work. I think this was the 1 time out of 10 that it actually worked. Danny and Gray said, does NASCAR eventually not allow its drivers to drive in the SRX if they're in the NASCAR series? I can see a situation where that happens, and that might be one of those things that they try to when they give the teams more money, that might be one of the things they sort of try to work in there as a concession to give the teams more of that TV money. I can see a situation where that happens. They're already really picky about what they'll let you drive and what they won't let you drive. It's not really discussed and talked about. It's one of those topics that you're just supposed to shut up about and not say anything about. But they already do it to an extent. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they went full out and just said no more extracurriculars in this series, and this series. But basically already you need to have NASCAR approval anyway. Old Home Guy says, the hat info, please. I got it at South Boston at the actual SRX race. I don't know if they have them at the SRX.com website, but this is where I got this one. It was at the merchandise trailer at the SRX race. So if you attend the SRX race, they should have them there. I also got the Peyton Sellers shirt. He was the hometown hero at that one, or the ringer. He was the ringer at that one. So a lot of good swag there. Not the cheapest stuff in the world, but I've also seen more expensive swag as well. John Lewis says, saving time on track drying, rain tires at ovals. Yeah, that definitely would keep the thing moving. I just hope they have enough grip to where they don't have to go like 50 or 60 miles per hour around the track. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. They've tested it, so hopefully their tests prove to be good and that all works out. Only reason the Hail Melon worked was the composite body, says Mark Barnum. There you go. There's another solid argument for steel bodies and get the fabricators to have jobs again back in the shops. Tacoma 2 was a one-time thing, and Ross owns it. Yeah, 100%. I see the safety issue. I'm just saying they could have made the walls safer. Like there is another way of thinking about it, I guess is what I could say. What if you're forced into the wall and you keep your foot in the gas, says old home? Or what if you just say, hey, my throttle hung, nothing I could do about it. So there's ways around it. That's what I'm saying. It's a judgment call, and if it ever gets put to a judgment call, it's just going to get real interesting because you know how NASCAR is. Joseph Marigliano says, have you heard anything about Myatt Snyder for 2023 or Our Motorsports? I feel like I heard something about Myatt Snyder going somewhere, but I can't remember where it was at. Let's see here. Robin Mark says, thumbs up thumbs up to the video or you will feel guilty. So I would appreciate the thumbs up, but if you don't want to, don't feel pressured into doing it. Thank you, Robin Marks. Philip Canavan says, don't forget Richie Evans died by hitting the wall where the gates are in Martinsville. So yeah, that's another thing people have brought up quite often. Totally different car, open wheel car, but it can open his car. Basically, it was an ugly scene, ugly situation. Yeah, so I don't know how much of that I can actually talk about, nor would I guess I really want to talk about it, but it was a bad scene if you know exactly what happened. Joseph Mirgolano, that's what I'm saying. Even without the wall move, you could still make where that gate opens safer, right? Like you could put basically a barrier in between where that opening up is, where something like that, it would never can open a car again. That might be just a safety thing they need to add anyway, regardless of let's take the wall move out of the situation. Take the Hail Melon out of the situation. You could still make where that gate opens safer to where it doesn't jut out at all. You could make it smooth. Like you could have a gate that sort of, see what I'm saying here, opens like this. So if you have a gate that opens like this, it would send the car sort of around. You wouldn't, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'd have to show it to you, but there's ways of making it safer. Let's just put it that way. One wise guy says, hit the like button, friends, and post the merch for newbies. Yep. Do I have the merch pulled up today? That is a good question. I do. There we go. Pop it down here. All right, there we go. If you want to buy t-shirts and stuff like that, there you go. It's down in the comment that I just made. What a shame. Publix tenders are absolutely worth a 35-minute wait. It's not a Florida thing. It's a Florida way of life, says Say Kyle, not Cal. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I don't know. The vegan lady in front of me was getting on my nerves, and I was low on sleep. And I've already told everybody about the tire situation. The guy waking me up when I was sleeping in my car. I was that close to snapping and having a Florida man moment. I didn't want to be in the newspapers and be Florida man does this, that, or the other thing. So I just I got my sub and I left because I was getting warm in there. It's getting warm under the collar. It should not take 30 minutes to order a God blessed sub. Still mad about it. Anyways, William Eckstein, I love your reports. Thanks, William. I appreciate it. Car fits Deegan's racing style well, but not in trucks. I agree. I think you're going to see her. I think she'll be fine in trucks this year because she's with a championship level team. But I do think she is better at driving cars, and that's not a knock on anybody's talent. Everybody's good at driving one thing or another. There's very few people that are just universally good at anything they jump in. Let's see. Chad Huffman says, I see Riley Herbst is driving the number 15 in the 500. Is that going to be a Rick Ware car or a fourth Stuart Haas car? I would say it's going to be a fourth Stuart Haas car. And here's why I say that. Sonny D is sponsoring him. And Sonny D is also going to sponsor Kevin Harvick. So my guess would be it's probably going to be another extra Stuart Haas car. Let's see. Mark Warner says, the choose rule will be interesting at Daytona. Will give teammates a better chance to match up at the end. I think so, too. I think it's really cool that they put the choose rule. They should have done it a long time ago. If you do a choose rule, you should do it for every track. And the same thing with the road courses, getting rid of the stage cautions. If you get rid of the stage cautions at one track, get rid of the stage cautions at all tracks. So one universal set of rules for every track. Let's keep it pretty simple here, NASCAR. Anyway, Rob Mark said, I used to be super political because I love history, but now I'm not. I'm glad you're not political. Yeah, I mean, I've never met a politician in my life that I'm like, yeah, I need to get behind that person, because at the end of the day, they're a politician and all they want's my vote, and then they're going to do whatever they're going to do for the people who funded them to do their campaign to get elected. They don't care about the citizens, in my opinion. They just care about getting reelected, and they care about the people that paid them to get reelected, and they do their bidding. So that's where I fall on politics. I know everybody wants to hear my opinion on it. Anyway, it's polarizing on a purpose. This is a politics-free zone. Oh, I want the move, but I see both sides. Yeah, I see both sides of it too. It's a bummer that it's gone, but I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, because it is a safety issue at the end of the day. So if the rule is in place for riding the wall for safety, they probably need to put double yellow lines to separate the infield before something happens there too. Yeah, there's all kinds of when you open that can of worms, you can nitpick every single thing that is not safe. Good point, Aaron Flynn. There is a lot of unsafe things you can start nitpicking after that. So that is a fair comment. Let's see, Jamie Thornton, what's up? 5 days from the clash. I honestly hate to see all these NASCAR rules. Makes it okay for Ross to make the move then. Why not now? Doesn't even seem cool for NASCAR calling it an all-time great move, and now it's a no. So here's the interesting thing, and it reminded me because I remember answering Jamie's comment on the video I made. NASCAR actually didn't make a new rule. NASCAR is just enforcing a rule that was already in place. So that makes what Ross Chastain did illegal, and NASCAR turned a blind eye because they were getting positive press. You can easily make that argument now if you're a Denny Hamlin fan, right? So that is a very easy argument you can make. So now that NASCAR has seen the backlash, they're being reactive. NASCAR has seen all the people say, oh, it wasn't a safe move or anything like that. NASCAR is now going back and saying, oh, well, it wasn't a safe move. We're going to listen to what these people had to say retroactively. After we got all of this positive press, now we're going to say, oh, it was illegal the whole time. We're going to start enforcing it. We could have enforced it there, but we wanted that free press. So that's basically, that was NASCAR's take on it, 100%. Moulton says, please talk about the NASCAR potentially ruining the Xfinity Series with a new package for no reason. Jeremy Clements interview, please. Anyways, goodbye. What's up, Moulton? You ain't got to leave. Let's see here. Yeah, they've started tweaking the Xfinity Series cars for absolutely no reason. The Xfinity Series put on the best races last year, and this was all from an interview Bob Pockrass did with Jeremy Clements, if I'm not mistaken, where they're tweaking the Xfinity Series cars, and now the dirty air is worse than it's ever been, which stinks because the Xfinity Series cars had the best racing last year. So now NASCAR, they're just going to keep shooting themselves in the foot with stuff like this. So like, oh, the Xfinity Series was going good last year. Let's dig our claws in and ruin that too. Jamie Thornton says NASCAR went down. NASCAR went on about how great and love, views, and attention was okay with changing the championship for last season. Now it was so great it can't be done again. What the heck? Yeah, it's a head scratcher. But it's typical NASCAR doing what they do, flip flopping and going whichever way social media takes them. John Lewis says, let's chat 56. Johnson is a great driver, hands down, but he kind of bought his way into that ride. Should have been AJ. Just saying. Yeah, so here's my only comeback for that. You probably want to put your biggest names you can put in there to. And I do think that they will announce at some point Jeff Gordon as the relief driver. I think they're just spacing it out to keep the sort of the news going about the garage, keep the buzz going about Garage 56. So that being said, they're putting the biggest names they can put in there from different areas of motorsports to get as much attention for it as possible, because it is a Garage 56 entry. They're not actually racing against somebody. So if they were actually racing against somebody performance-wise, I would not disagree with you there. But because this is more or less just a spectacle to get eyeballs, I think Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Earl Bamber, and Jenson Button are actually the best drivers you could put in there, because you're getting eyeballs from all kinds of different avenues of motorsport, and you're getting two of the bigger names as far as NASCAR goes. Because I do think eventually Jeff Gordon will be announced as the relief driver. They're just slow rolling it to get maximum publicity. Chrome Diesel says there needs to be a new leader running NASCAR who has a racing background, not stick and ball. Nail on the head there, Chrome Diesel. I agree with you 100%. We need racers running NASCAR. Tony McCall says the gate is similar to the Bristol gate when Michael Waltrip hit. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They could actually fix the gate. That seems to be, everybody is focused on the move being dangerous, where actually it's the gate. The gate is what's dangerous, right? So that would be my contention about the move is dangerous. I don't think the move's dangerous. I think having the gate there, the way the gate is constructed, is dangerous. But it's going to fall on deaf ears because NASCAR's already made their decision. Matt Robbins says, when Mikey Waltrip hit the gate opening and Daryl thought he lost his brother, a most awesome wreck where the driver walked away. Yeah, Mike Harmon had a similar wreck like that as well. There have been several can opener wrecks because of the way those gates are. 100%. Let's see here. Have I heard anything about Myatt Snyder for 2023? I feel like I heard something about him, but I can't remember what it was, or if it was official, or if it was just a rumor. Bobby Labonte and Ryan Newman, teammates in the Whelen Modified Tour. Yep, and they're also running SRX, so that's going to be a cool deal as well. Michael Honeychuck was announced as Rick Ware Racing. Yeah, but it's probably going to be if it's Riley Herbst, it's probably going to be sort of like what they did last year, where it's really going to be a Stuart Haas racing car in that 15 for the races that Riley Herbst is driving it, and then the other times it's going to be regular old Rick Ware equipment. Jason Rackle said, "What's up, everyone? Caught a live stream. Wow, what a NASCAR news day. Wow, yeah, it's been hot and heavy today. Tons of news out there. How often do you do these live chats?" Josh Strickland asking. Normally I do them on Tuesday and Sunday, but I've just sort of been this week. I've just been sort of throwing them out here, so you never know. I might do one. I might do the Roar before the NWP tomorrow. So stay tuned. We will see. How excited are you for the Clash this weekend? I hope it goes really well. The heat races were really awesome last year. The main event lacked a little bit, but I thought the heat races were so good that it didn't matter. So hopefully we have a different situation where the heat races and the main event are good. So I'm pretty stoked for it. It's racing, and I'm ready for racing. Uncle Bones with the shout out. Appreciate it, Uncle Bones, with the super chat there. Appreciate all the super chats, all the love, all the comments. Let's see. Chrome Diesel Casuals will be confused which races will have stage yellows and might as well get rid of it. I agree. Just get rid of it just get rid of all the cautions. You can still have your stages. Just get rid of the cautions for all the tracks. I don't see where it would really hurt anything. Rusty Beechwood says, "Happy race week, ladies and gentlemen. Good to be back." It is good to be back. Good time for motorsports right now. Everything's going on at the same time, it seems like. Joseph Mirigliano says, "How is Brandon Brown Motorsports?" They're not doing good. Are they still closing down, or are they still in business? As far as I know, they're still in business, but they're just barely hanging on. It's not in good shape. Matt Robbins said, "Dang, you hit the nail on the head about carpetbagging politicians." Yeah, they just want your vote, in my opinion. And I'll, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox about that. That's for other channels, but I don't trust any politician. Funny they made a new rule. Only took place that would work like that is Martinsville. I do agree with that. Maybe New Hampshire. I don't know. And even then, planets had to align for that. I agree. It was a once in a lifetime thing that would ever work anyway. You just said enough enforcing it, though. Oh well. F the 11, says Rusty Beechwood. So that's the funniest part of all of this. Like, Denny Hamlin in the moment took it like a champ. He actually gave Ross Chastain props for it, but he's just so polarizing now that everybody, for whatever reason, Denny Hamlin, he's just so polarizing that you either love him or hate him. And if you hate him, you really hate him. If you love him, you really love him. It's such a funny reaction to me. I don't mean to laugh about it, but it's just I just don't get it. He's just such a regular dude, like, but he gets under people's skin so bad with his smart aleckness and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It's pretty funny to me. He doesn't bother me one way or the other. I think I'm the only person that I don't care one way or the other. He seems like a nice enough guy, but he does have a smart aleck side to him, so I can see where I guess he would get under some people's skin. Old Home Guy says, "Do you like the Black Hooters 9 car?" I like last year's car better, to be honest with you. And this coming from a guy, I'm going to drive a black car, but it's because I'm poor and I can't afford a whole wrap. I'm tired of black cars. Everybody has a black car. Everybody basically, I guess, grew up a Dale Earnhardt fan. Even Jimmy Johnson has now gone to a black car. His last few years, he drove a black car. I am so over black cars. Can we please have cars with colors back at the racetrack? That's actually what made the 90s. If you remember all these classic 90s paint schemes, there was only one or two that were black. The two I remember being black were Rusty Wallace's Miller Genuine Draft car and Dale Earnhardt's #3 car. All these other paint schemes we remember as being great were these bright, lively colors. And everybody was like, oh, that was the golden age of paint schemes. Then everybody, when they see their favorite driver have a black car, oh, that's so badass, man. He's got a black car. Like, why? Like, you like all these other paint schemes and colors from the past, but then when a guy gets a black car, everybody's like, oh, that car is so badass, man. It's a black car. It's stupid. I can't stand a black car. I'm over them. There's only one black car I want to see, and that's the 3 car and you know, possibly the 2 car. And the 13 Smokey Unix car was black. Those are the only like black cars I really want to see. Everybody else needs to put some color in their car. But that being said, it is a good looking car. I'm not hating on it. I just like last year's better with the orange and white. Hooters should always be orange and white in my opinion. Probably got a yellow mark for saying saying the name of that restaurant. Let's see here. There's Hamlin fans here who knew. Tons of Hamlin fans everywhere. Once in a million shot, says Rusty Beechwood. Yeah, I don't think it would work a ton all the time. Jamie Thornton says, old home guy, she does. NASCAR gonna NASCAR, says Jason Radcliffe, 100%. You give them a chance to, they're gonna NASCAR it every time. Old home guy says Ty Dillon to win the Clash in the 77 car. Well, he certainly tried everything he could last year to get into the race. He wasn't scared. I'll give him that. Let's see here. Jamie Thornton says, it's like NASCAR not suspending Jeff Gordon for what he did to Clint, cost him the championship. No suspension because the fans and the money Gordon brings in. Kenseth does it, 2-race suspension. I mean, that's a fair statement. And that's what I get to when you get to these NASCAR judgment calls. They always favor one side or the other, it seems like. And you can always make the argument. So, and NASCAR is super inconsistent with them. So you can't ever say NASCAR is intentionally favoring somebody. You can just say, really, NASCAR is inept at making logical, reasonable decisions because they never do them in a consistent, orderly manner. John Lewis says, clash or crash. Yeah, that's basically what it's going to be, John. I agree with you. Let's see. If I'm Denny Hamlin, I'm pissed. I'm just saying, says Jamie Thornton. Yeah, I mean, he has every right to be if NASCAR's like, yeah, it was illegal last year, but we let it ride because even though it was a rule on the rule book last year, we let it ride because we wanted, you know, all this free publicity we were getting. Ultra Ball Studios, honestly, Ty Dillon probably going to win the Clash, no joke. I'd love to see it. Like, what a start to the season that would be, right? Like all the doubters, all the people that doubt Ty Dillon, if he goes out and wins the Clash, like that gives him an instant moment to be like, hey, I can still drive. Y'all need to leave me alone. Like, you know what I mean? So it would be a cool situation. I also can't imagine sitting in the infield and watching a race in the rain, the spring in Richmond. Yeah, that would absolutely suck. So yeah, I don't know. You're not going to have any fans in the stands during the rain races, or at least not very many. It'll be an interesting look to see if it happens or when it happens. Rusty Beechwood says, how Michael Waltrip is still alive after Bristol is beyond me. The only thing I can say to that, Rusty, is when it's your time, it's your time. When it's not your time, it's not your time. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing what some people walk away from, and then it's amazing at how easily you can be taken off the planet too. So that's always amazed me. Yeah, I agree with you. 2 yellow lines on the bottom, 1 yellow line next to the wall. Cannot advance position. Yeah, so essentially another yellow line rule. Let's see, old home guy, Colleague, and Trackhouse are prime picks for Toyota to steal, like they did from Joe Gibbs and Chevrolet. I don't think Colleague, like a lot of people are throwing Colleague out there. The only way you steal Colleague is if you give them a building to build all their cars. Like, I don't know. They are, if you've ever been to RCR, they're literally in the dead middle of RCR. So they're not only getting their cars built there. I mean, I know they've got their own people there, but they're getting tons of help from RCR. I don't know. You'd have to make a really sweet deal to pull them. Trackhouse sort of has their own deal going on. Trackhouse would be easier to pull, in my opinion, but a lot of people are saying it's the other way. They're gonna say Colleague is going to be the easier pull, and Trackhouse would be the harder one to get. In my opinion, it would be easier to sway Trackhouse to leave, and it would be easier to sort of sway Colleague to stay. But that's just if you just go and see how the actual places where the cars are built and where the race shops are run, I think Colleague is actually more entrenched with Chevrolet than Trackhouse would be. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I don't know anything. I don't have any deep knowledge or anything like that. That's just me looking at the physical layout of where Colleague is right now. I don't see Colleague ever leaving RCR. Let's see. Jamie Thornton says Rusty Beechwood for real. Still one of the most insane wrecks ever. Yeah, the Michael Waltrip wreck is crazy. No doubt about it. Agreed. Points can stay. Stage breaks can go. Kick rocks. Yeah, I agree. But at least the cautions are gone. Say Kyle, not Cal. TV wants more cautions. But in doing so, the road courses this year will lead to all races in the next year or two. Well, that's a good point. It'll just be the road courses this year, and I think it'll be so well received that they'll eventually cave to the fans for once and just get rid of it. Get rid of the cautions at all the tracks. Delmar Kaufman says sad about Brandon Brown. Hopefully they find some sponsorship. Yeah, I hope he does too. That's just such a bad deal. He's another one that got caught in the whole political deal, and he had literally nothing to do with it. Just a BS situation for him to be in. Old Home Guy says, did you think the 84 car changes his mind and runs a full schedule? Even if he wanted to, it would be so hard to line up sponsors and stuff like that. You remember when Mark Martin was leading the points that year, and even for him, when he was leading the points, it would have been a struggle for him to line up sponsors and run a full season. So I even if he changes his mind, I don't think he'll be able to do it. Jason Ratcliffe says, never trust a politician or a lawyer is the best advice my father ever gave me. That's right. And when you walk into a bar, there's 2 things you don't talk about, religion and politics. So there you go. Josh Strickland, those are the 2 things that I'd always heard as well, Jason Ratcliffe. Josh Strickland, what class do you run? What track? Limited late model is what I'm going to run. And I'm going to run at Ace Speedway, and it'll be my first season in that type of car. Basically, my only experience before that has been go-karts. And that's been very light experience at that as far as circle track racing goes. So Jamie Thornton says, so excited about Denny Hamlin's podcast. I think it's going to be great. I would love for Denny to have some of our YouTube podcasters on, like Maloney Burger. It's a win-win for fans. That would be cool. Like, I don't know if he would ever have me on or anything like that, but I would definitely accept. So yeah, I think he's going to make a lot of moves with that podcast. I think he's going to stir the pot a lot. And get the conversation going in whatever direction he wants to. I think it's a good platform for drivers to have and car owners, because he is both. So glad he's actually doing it, and glad he's with Junior Motors or what is it, Dirty Mo. Glad he's with Dirty Mo, because that is like the top level you can sort of be at in this sport as far as getting eyeballs on you. How can you tell if Denny the Ham is being a jackass if his lips are moving? So there you go, Jason Ratcliffe on the other end of it. Not a Denny Hamlin fan. That's what I'm saying. You either like the guy or you don't. Seems to be polarizing. Allison's Havoline car was black, says Whitman. So yeah, there you go. That's the other one. The 28 car, that would be another good one. That would be another good one. I can't believe I forgot that one. But I always, for whatever reason, I think about that white, gold, and black one. I always like that car a little bit better. I know I'm a little bit weird. Everybody else liked the one with the red orange, the bright orangey. It looked orange on TV, but it was bright red in real life. 28 on the door, the bubblegum number, they called it. Chad Huffman says, I missed the 90s paint schemes. Yeah, they were awesome. Kelly Cone says, hello, everyone from small town upstate New York. What's up, New York? I'm a fan of colors. Neon is my favorite. Always love the pink net for cancer. It looked awesome. Yeah, also, Bobby Hamilton had a pink Country Time Lemonade car that looked really good back in the day. His regular Country Time Lemonade car looked good, too. Let's see here. Rusty Beechwood agreed on paint schemes. Black is occasionally okay, but keep it popping with colors. Yeah, 100%, man. Colors are where it's at, especially for a race car. You want to be seen on the racetrack to attract sponsors. So you always want to be as bright as possible. Black and to an extent, sometimes white. Black and white don't really stand out unless you are the absolute man at that racetrack. Like Peyton Sellers is at South Boston. He runs a white and orange car, but he can get away with that because he wins a lot. Let's see here. Josh Strickland going in with Hamlin sucks. Are Hamlin fans expensive like Dyson fans? I don't know. So there you go. Denny Hamlin once again polarizing the chat here. Jason Ratcliffe, I love the black 09 Mikasiki Casino Tribe Finch car scheme. Brad K won in. I did like that car, but I always thought that Finch's best car was that yellow car. When Finch had the yellow car, it was actually an orange car, but it said yellow. The sponsor was Yellow Safety or Yellow Trucking or something like that. I always thought that was his better looking car. But yeah, the Mikasicki car was pretty good too. Michael Honeychuck says black MGD car looked good. Yeah, that black number 2 Miller Genuine Draft car, I thought that was Rusty Wallace. They call him the Blue Deuce, and he's famous for the Blue Deuce. But I always thought that Miller Genuine Draft car looked better. John Lewis says MC LOL Legacy Motor Club. There you go. Jamie Thornton says, great Denny Hamlin story. My girlfriend's daughter has special needs. Huge Stewart fan. They got a garage pass. Stewart walks right by and ignores her. She's crying. Denny Hamlin walks up, gives her a huge hug, and takes a pic with her. Denny Hamlin tells her it's going to be okay. Signs his hat for her. So there you go. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I think a lot of people, if you met Denny Hamlin, same thing with actually Joey Logano, which is ironic that I'm talking about both guys at the same sentence because I know they don't like each other. But actually, if you meet either one of them in person, I think you would probably change your mind about how much you might not like them or something like that. But it's NASCAR. Pull for who you want to. Rob Rohr says it should start a Daytona. It should start at Daytona, period. Talking about the Clash. I don't disagree with you. I like speed weeks myself. It is what it is, though. But historically, it has started at Riverside before. So there is history where it didn't always start at Daytona. Just not in my lifetime. Jason Ratcliffe says, also like the Night Owl DI9. Every Hooter scheme can't be Kawicki. LOL, Loy Allen Jr. throwback. Those Loy Allen Jr. cars look great. He was really good at getting the pole. He wasn't really good after he got the pole, but those cars look great. I personally would like to see an all orange Hooters car. Like, let's get away from the black. Let's get away from the white. Let's go with an all orange Hooters car. They had a concept and people could vote on it at one time. They had an all orange one, and that all orange one looked good. But as soon as I saw the black one thrown in there, I said, you know what? The black one is going to win the fan vote because it's a black car. And guess what happened? The black car won the fan vote. Because for whatever reason, people just think that black race cars look tough or whatever. And I mean, they do to an extent. But then when you get like 10 of them on a racetrack, it just is too much of one thing. So I'm over the whole black main car as your scheme. I like bright colors because it makes you stand out. Like Jeff Gordon, he's probably one of the few drivers. I don't think he's ever had a black car. He's had a navy blue one, but I don't think he's ever had like a solid black one. Maybe one of his Pepsi cars. I'm trying to remember. But he's one of the few drivers. Derek Cope, I don't think ever had that Pure Later one was bright colored. There's certain drivers that have iconic paint schemes that weren't necessarily black. Richard Petty would be the most famous one, of course. Last thing on Chastain thing, other drivers don't have the cojones to do it, or the brains, or lack thereof, however you look at it, or both, says Rusty Beechwoods. There you go. That's a fair statement too. A lot of drivers are like, yeah, I thought about doing it. I was like, yeah, you thought about doing it, but you weren't crazy enough like Ross Chastain to do it. Rob Rohr says Toyota engines and JGR engines are not the same. I mean, they all come from TRD, but there is a fair point. Maybe Gibbs guys are doing a little something different to them. You never know. It is a fair point to make. Jamie Thornton said Rusty Beechwood. I agree. He knew he was going to be short behind Denny Hamlin for the championship. He refused to just settle for that result. The biggest all balls move ever in NASCAR, and I loved it. Yeah, and Denny Hamlin took it like a champ. Denny Hamlin even said it was a great move. He was impressed by it. He took it like a champ, which I thought was very interesting, given the history they had last season. Dakota Henderson Legacy MC goes to Toyota. I doubt that'll happen. I don't know. It could, though. It could. They're basically a free agent, but I feel like Maury Gallagher is a Chevrolet guy. So I think it's going to be a hard sell to get him to go to Toyota. But with enough money, anything can happen, right? Justin Marigliano says, have you heard anything about Brandon Brown Motorsports? Did they close shop? Are they still in business? As far as I know, they're still in business, but they're struggling. So they haven't closed the doors yet, but it's not looking good. Tony McCall says, well, Jeff O'Dine had a bad wreck in the truck series at Daytona. Yeah, he did. That's for sure. He's had several bad wrecks, actually. All these manufacturers trying to do F1, but still no four manufacturer. That is puzzling, says John Lewis. I think they're waiting for the 2024 engine change, John Lewis, and I do think you will see a new manufacturer when they change the engine configuration allegedly in 2024. I think Jordan Anderson Racing should have went with a well-established driver lineup. Says Joseph Murigliano. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there, but it sort of is what it is. And Rusty Beechwood saying you are spot on, Jamie Thornton. Old Home Guy says Brandon Brown was a victim of not having Victory Lane interviews. 100%, Old Home Guy. 100%. I agree with you there. But they're still pushing. They're still pushing the start finish. Whatever. They need to get rid of it. It's junk. It's trash. The fans don't want it, but they're not going to listen because they think they know better than everybody. Justin Mugano says I think Jordan Anderson's ration should have went up with more established driver lineup. I mean, it might not have been an option for him though. Like he might have just had to get the guys that had sponsor money. When you're not a well-funded team, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to keep going. Chrome Diesel says the real question will be, what will it take to stop having interviews at the front stretch? Somebody getting hit with a beer can would be my guess, Chrome Diesel. But hopefully that never happens. Definitely not encouraging it. A cameraman getting hit, Chrome Diesel, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, there you go. Or somebody like somebody important's child, because sometimes the children run out there to celebrate with them. So somebody higher up, somebody important's child getting hit with a beer can, that would be another one. So it would have to take something like that for them to get their hard head tails to change it and have it back in Victory Lane where it should be. Jason Ratcliffe said those country time cars were epic. I agree. Don't forget the 75th year NASCAR awesome creative rap, says Michael Honeychuck. Yeah, so if you haven't seen that one that they took up to New York, you're in for a real treat because it's just an all-black car with a white 75 and a diamond on it, and it says NASCAR on the quarter panel. What a treat! What a absolute stunner of a scheme that was. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Who do you think will switch to Toyota in 2024 to boost Toyota's lineup? I feel like it's going to be furniture. I don't know. Furniture row. Front row would be my guess, but I have no idea. It's just a wild guess. Drivers personally don't hate, just hate how they drive. Says Whitman 22. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like that. They don't necessarily hate the driver; they hate the way a person drives. Jason Ratcliffe says, let's see here. Yeah, that number 1 orange yellow sponsorship car was also iconic. Jeff Purvis, yeah, Jimmy Spencer won in it in the Busch Series. Yeah, that thing was. I like that car. I like that car quite a bit. Rusty Beechwood says the country time cars are cool. We need more house product sponsoring, as you're referring to the 90s. Going big business sponsor, though, usually in the creativity, and that's a bummer. I agree with that 100%. The bigger the business, the less they want to go out there and be creative. Dennis Gillespie says, I like the Hut Strickland Heinz 57 car. Yeah, that was another good one. If I'm not mistaken, Jason Keller, pretty sure it was Hut. I know Hut Strickland ran it, and I know Jimmy Hensley ran it. Another one is that Trop Arctic Phillips 66 car. I think Cale Yarborough owned that car. That was a good-looking car. If not, it was maybe one of the Allisons owned it, but that Tropic 66 Phillips 66 car, that was a good-looking car too. I know Jimmy Hensley drove it for a little bit. Matt Hunter says, who would you rather have behind the wheel of the Wood Brothers 21 next year, Harrison or Zane? I'd rather have Zane. I still have Ricky succeeding Harvick. A lot of people are saying that, and so where there's smoke, there's fire. So he could be in the running for it. You never know. Jamie Thornton says, I would love an all-orange Hooters car. I would too. It's something they haven't really tried yet officially. Like they've had the mock-ups of it, but I'd like to see it on the track. Just go with something totally different you haven't done before. We've honored Alan Kowicki, and we've seen the white and orange. We've now seen the black and orange several times. Let's just go with a mostly orange car and see how that plays out. I think it would sell a lot of diecast. Well, it's going to sell a lot of diecast anyway. It's Chase Elliott driving it, but you know what I'm saying. Duke Chronic, what's up? Solid color cars are the best ones I like. Goodwrench was kind of plain, but awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. Especially if it's a bright color. I know that one you're talking about is black. But if you got like a really bright color, or sometimes two complementing bright colors, like those Wrangler cars, you had the yellow and the blue, and they complement each other. They're what you call a perfect complement on the color grid, which I think is what yellow and purple is the perfect complement on the color grid. But that one was pretty close. They matched up pretty good. I think it's blue and red are actually perfect complements, and purple and yellow. But yeah, two bright colors together sometimes are really good too. Those Wrangler cars were really good looking. UPS brown car wasn't hitting on much, but people loved it. People loved it. They made it work. You see, Jay Leno's Garage was canceled. Now nobody will be watching CNBC, says old home guy. Well, that's their own doing as far as that goes, in my opinion. Whitman Gordon had a black car for Kansas in 03 Wizard of Oz scheme. So, okay, so there you go. Gordon had a black Pepsi car. It was gross. Yeah, the Pepsi Max car. I remember it now, Rusty Beechwood. I was thinking he did have one all black car, and it was a Pepsi car. The Pepsi Max car. I don't remember the Wizard of Oz one, but I wasn't the biggest Jeff Gordon fan either. So he had a couple of them, but for the most part, when you think about him, you sort of remember him as the bright colored car. I like the Clash. Not old enough to remember Riverside. Yeah, me either. I just remember it because I watch a bunch of old YouTube stuff. Mr. Traditional 2 week speed weeks. Same here. The millennial mentality will never let that return. Don't talk about my generation. No, I'm just playing. God forbid team spend 2 weeks at the beach. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree. I said something about that a long time ago on one of these, and one of the drivers actually got into the chat and told me I was wrong. So even some of the younger drivers don't want to spend 2 weeks at the beach because oh god, it's so terrible to stay at the beach in Daytona. Oh my goodness, sleeping in the Bass Pro parking lot. Anyways, gonna go ahead and end the poll. It looks like 53%, a lot closer than I thought it would be. 53%. Saying it is a good move to get rid of it. So I am surprised by that. You want some extra help at Ace? I used to race go-karts. I remember when it was dirt. I'm not knowledgeable, but would love to come help out. I quit karts in 1990. Just miss being around. Stays in your blood. I tell you what, if I need the help, I'll get up with you, Cooter. Yeah, I would appreciate any type of help, but we'll see. Of course, anytime I'm out there, you're welcome to come down there and say what's up and hang out. I won't even necessarily put you to work, but yeah, if y'all want to come hang out, have a good time, I'd love to have the support. I don't know how well I'm going to do. Definitely nervous about it, but I know it's going to be fun no matter what. So just going out there to do my best and have a good time. That's all you can really ask for. Let's see here. Rusty Beechwood, Pepsi Max, actually why it was black. Yeah, that's a fact. Joseph Marigliano says, who would you say besides Trackhouse do you think would join Toyota? I mean, I think the easy one to say is Spire. Rick Ware Racing, they could easily pluck one of them, and also Front Row Motorsports. Those would be the three that pop off the chart to me. I think Front Row Motorsports would be the bigger grab, but you could see them grabbing any of those. And of course, JTG Doherty is one that's always going to be in the mix and mentioned there. You might get one of them for the charter. You might get one of them because you think they're a team that you can build around. That one being Front Row. So those would be my picks as far as that goes. I never thought I would see Stewart Haas Racing, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick go to and drive Fords. Money talks. Yeah, I agree with you. I never did either. I think it's going to be a surprise. I wouldn't be shocked if SHR goes to Toyota if Smoke isn't happy. That's a good point. So you bring up a really good point. And I brought it up before, but for whatever reason, I wasn't thinking about it here. Yeah, Tony Stewart has not been happy with Ford recently, so it actually would not surprise me. He is not necessarily what you would call brand loyal. It would not surprise me to see him go to Toyota. Although when he was driving Toyota, he couldn't leave Joe Gibbs fast enough. He drove Toyota for 1 year. So I don't know if his mind's changed about that, but we'll have to see. So, yeah, that's a good point. It wouldn't surprise me to see Stewart Haas Racing might be one of those teams they're talking about. That would be a big power move by Toyota if they could pull that off. Jamie Thornton also says Joseph Mergelana, Trackhouse going to Toyota and seeing Hamlin and Chastain Toyota promos would be hilarious. Oh, that would be something else. That would be pretty funny. Say Kyle Macau, I have a black 24 Pepsi diecast from 2008, but it's rare for Jeff to have a black car. Yeah, I agree. Jeff ran a gray-black scheme like National Guard and Pepsi Max. Yeah, the Pepsi Max cars, I sort of blocked them out for some reason. Jamie says, I always liked Jeff Gordon's Pepsi cars. Say Kyle, not Cal. Yeah, they actually were really good. I had I was there when he drove the all blue one to the maybe 04, 05 Firecracker 400, Pepsi, Coca-Cola 600. He was driving the Pepsi car, won the Coke 400 or whatever it's called at Daytona. So I was down there for that one. Dennis Gillespie, I don't think they should let the kids go up there and give the flags to the drivers after the race like they do. To keep those flags, and if they do, it really makes the kids feel bad. Yeah, I don't know. I think they let the kids keep them, though. I don't think they take them back from them. Let's see here. Duke Chronic said, let's go, Brandon. I could get them away from the finish line and back in victory lane. You would hope something does. Rusty Beachwood says 75th NASCAR wrap looked like Jeff Gordon's Pepsi Max car. For real, it was not good. Yeah, I agree with you. It was just all black with white lettering and then the diamond logo for the anniversary. Joe Smigliano says, you ever see Front Row Motorsports leaving for Toyota? Yep, I sure do. I could easily see them doing that. Lack of creativity, says Chrome Diesel, about the NASCAR car. Indeed, it's being agreed upon. I used to like some of those Jeff Gordon, Burton Exide battery car schemes. Yeah, so that's a situation where I'm okay with black on that one because the pink is so bright that it actually brings the color of the pink down. But still, that car was mainly pink. Those Exide cars were really good, especially the ones where they blended the purple with the pink. Those were good-looking cars, too. Jeff Burton had some good-looking cars. For sure. The Caterpillar cars were sort of a homage to his brother, but those Exide cars were definitely all iconic Jeff Burton. Jason Ratcliffe, I think you hit the nail on the head with the front runner for the move to Toyota. Gilliland going to Toyota in trucks, ARCA, and Son still driving for Front Row in Fords is a clue. I mean, you put together the same thing I put together, Jason. Dennis Gillespie, Dale Earnhardt, Tasmanian Devil car was awesome. Too, along with and it trailed off. But yeah, the Tasmanian Devil car was awesome. Taz was a marketing promotion that Chevrolet used for a long time on the SS cars. Delmar Kaufman says Kyle's peak antifreeze car was really cool. It was really cool. And also that pink, blue, and silver bullet Coors car he had was awesome too. Jason Ratcliffe, front row, not front runner. I knew what you meant, man. Old home guy, 94 black Elliott Batman car. Yeah, the Batmobile Batman car for Elliott. What was what they call that thing? It was something, I don't know. They did some type of play on Thunderbat. That's what they called it. Beast 1624, love Dale Senior's special silver car and the orange Wheaties car. Yeah, that silver car, the silver bullet, that was probably my all-time favorite. Let's see. I honestly live for those throwback races at Darlington. So cool. I could go on forever about the cool paint schemes. Yeah, me too. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you're throwing back to this era, but then everybody comes out here with a black car for the races these days. It's like they're not learning anything at all. I don't get it. Rusty Beachwood, the 7 Exide Hammer. Jimmy Thornton was talking about. Damn right. Bodine used to rock that too. Half black, but purple and blue too. It was fine. Oh yeah, that was a good looking car. Yep, and that's the one she's talking about. Taz car was red, was badass. Someone mentioned for sure. Agree on removing stage brakes on road courses. Yeah, said corn-fed covers. Yeah, I agree 100%. Just get rid of the cautions. Just get rid of the cautions, and you can do whatever you want to from there. Chevy won a lot of races last year, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, I think it's just the way it sort of played out. I do feel like the field was more even than normal, but just because Chevrolet has so many more cars than everybody else in the field, it just sort of ended up Chevrolet won a bunch of races. Matt Hunter says, hey, Jason Ratcliffe, are you and John Hunter Nemechek a package deal primed for Cup returns in 2024? Which team? That's a good question. Josh Strickland says Allison Miller's High Life car was bad to the bone. Yeah, that gold, I've said this often, the gold 12, the gold 8 when Bobby Hillin drove it, and the gold 84 that Dick Trickle drove. Well, those were some of my most favorite cars of all times. And they even had a prototype in IMSA that was pretty cool too. Good luck with your new car, says Josh Strickland. I appreciate it. Let's see. Jimmy Thornton said, I'm honestly going to miss this early century generation when Harvick retires and Hamlin and Kyle Busch. It really is really all that I will be left. Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., Kenseth, Harvick, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, and Denny Hamlin. Yep, it's definitely the ending of, I call it the ending of the Gillette Young Guns era, because mostly all those were Gillette Young Guns. So the Gillette Young Guns are now retiring, which is like you got to admit you're getting old now, right? If you remember the Gillette Young Guns commercials and stuff like that, they were the Young Guns, and they were pushing the old timers out back in their day, and now they're all retiring. So we've got the next wave is coming in. John Lewis said, so an odd note, the 24 at Daytona was a great success with steel body cars with the doors that open, more factory bodies made of steel instead of plastic. I mean, I agree with you, John Lewis, but you can't. You're preaching at NASCAR, and NASCAR doesn't listen to any of us. So I don't disagree with you, but they're not going to listen. I would love to see Recchi destroying a Toyota over a Chevy any day of the week. Says Camaro 50. Yeah, he likes to be aggressive. What can you say? The only place for segment racing is an exhibition race like the All-Star race. No wonder why All-Star race doesn't feel special anymore. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. They sort of take the specialness out of that. The All-Star race has always struggled since its inception until they had a good run when they first went under the lights, but then it's sort of fallen off every year since then. So I think moving it around and going using the All-Star race like they're using the Clash would be the best move. Sorry, BB, I was on the phone. So my question was, do you think Front Row Motorsports would switch to Toyota? Yes, I do think they will switch to Toyota, Joseph. I do think that's the team that's going to switch to Toyota. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. Jamie Thornton says, I can't wait to see how KB does this year. His last 2 years at JGR were probably the worst of his career. He's going to be dangerous if he has a fire lit under him. Plus, he was just fed up with JGR. I think so too. I think he's going to come out just absolutely on fire and be more focused than he was his entire probably his last 5 years at Gibbs. I just think he's going to be a refocused guy. I think it's going to be the best for both teams, really, because I do think it is time for Joe Gibbs Racing to get younger. And I've said this before, you were going to have to get rid of one veteran at some point, and there was going to be some backlash no matter which veteran you got rid of. Unfortunately, I think they got rid of the guy that you were going to get the most backlash from if you got rid of him. And so when they got rid of Kyle Busch, they got a ton of backlash, but they did have to get younger at some point. Now, whether or not you're in love with Ty Gibbs as the person they picked as to be their younger driver, that's debatable. But what else can you do with him? The guy's won in everything he's been in. He is the champion of the Xfinity Series. So if you don't move him up now, when do you move him up? I mean, the fair argument can be made there. So overall, they get better. And then 23-11, they made a good move getting Tyler Reddick. So it's one of those situations where it's kind of going to work out for everybody. So at the end of the day, although there were bitter feelings and it's going to be fun to watch, it's going to be a fun story to talk about. At the end of the day, I really do think long run, it works out for everybody, 100%. Dennis Gillespie says the Skull Bandit car is iconic. 100%. I agree with you on that. Joseph says, why did they start doing victory? Why did they start doing victory lane interviews at the start-finish line anyway? They used to do that was during the everything going on when the country shut down. That's when they started doing that. So that was that. That's what started that. What's up, BB? New Hooters car is awesome. Says T-Van. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying I wish they would do something different with it, like go to an all-orange car. That's just my thoughts on it, because we've seen it white, we've seen it black. Can we go with an all-orange Hooters car? I would love to see an all-orange Hooters car. Let's take it a different direction going forward. That being said, Williams Creative is the person who made this one. He does a great job with his stuff. I'm pretty sure they told him what color scheme they want, so I don't think it was like totally up to him. So I think he did a great job of what he had to work with. Parker Kligerman is going to do a partial schedule of trucks this year as well, or no. As far as I know, he's still with Henderson, but he is going to do the full season for Xfinity. But I think he is going to still do the partial season with Henderson, if I'm not mistaken. And Henderson had talked about going full time, but now that they can't get Parker Kligerman to go full time, I wonder if they still plan on trying to go full time. So that's another question as well. Justin Rankle says, B with the 19 Gibbs Xfinity All-Star car this season. It could be. That's going to be the interesting thing to see is who they put in that 19 car, the All-Star car. I agree with that. I guess we have to mention Waltrip's Chrome car, the greatest Chrome car of all time, the only Chrome car of all time. John Lewis, yeah, Darrell Waltrip did have the Chrome car. It was different. It's much like everything else. Just it was done one thing. It was the Ross Chastain of cars. It was done one time, and that's the only time we really need to see an all chrome car. Chevy won a bunch of races, but Ford won the championship, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, I feel like it was pretty even throughout. I feel like all the manufacturers were pretty even last year. But don't worry, NASCAR will fix that. Let's see here. Jamie says, yes, those Young Guns commercials were great. I grew up loving guys like Kurt Busch and Harvick. Just so sad. My first race in person was the infamous Kyle Busch Craven back. Oh man, what a great first race. That's awesome. I would immediately be a fan if that was my first race too. I had a very similar first race experience at North Wilkesboro, except Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd took themselves out of contention, and I was an Earnhardt fan. But it was still a great finish between Jeff Bodine and Rusty Wallace. Rusty Wallace got the win, but I just became a bigger Earnhardt fan because he should have won. Earl Dibbles Jr. At March Las Vegas race, Granger Smith. So there you go. Jimmy Johnson is only doing 5 races this year. I thought it was going to do like 10. They're going to run the car 10 times, but I think that Jimmy Johnson is only going to run it 5 times. The big name that is in the rumor mill for that 84 car is Casey Mears. Casey Mears might be coming back to run that 84 car a few races, so we might see a return of Casey Mears in a race car for Legacy Motorsport, which would sort of fit. He's got the right last name, and I always thought he didn't get all the respect he deserved. He was a pretty good race car driver. He just by the time he got kicked out of good cars is when he started becoming a good race car driver. It's just one of those situations. Do you remember when Dick Trickle was a rookie, and I believe Harry Gant was also a rookie? Says Dennis Gillespie. I don't remember if they were the rookies at the same time, but I remember Dick Trickle won the Rookie of the Year and gave an epic Rookie of the Year speech, and he did it in that aforementioned gold Miller High Life car. Hope Kyle lifts RCR up, says Josh Strickland. Well, he don't have to lift him up far. We did win 4 races. I say we like I'm part of the team. They did win 4 races last year. So, I mean, they were pretty daggum good last year. Probably could have won 6 or 7 if things broke right for them. Let's see here. Ty Gibbs and Denny Hamlin suck, says T-Van. If Truex retired last year, would KB still be a JGR? Probably Scott Talent. I do believe you are right about that. Yeah, I think they would have kept him. That's a great question. It does make you wonder. Yeah, I think you'd see Ty Gibbs in the 19, and Kyle Busch would still be there. And I think they thought Martin Truex probably was going to retire, and that's sort of why they got sort of caught up the way they got caught up, to be totally honest, if looking back on it in retrospect. Duke Chronic says the drive to victory lane used to be special. Can't wait to see the driver. Yeah, I agree. That was part of it. You also got to enjoy the victory lap. Now it's just a burnout, and they go to the start finish. I don't know. It is what it is. They need to fix it. Orange Hooters car for Halloween, says old home guy. Yeah, that would be cool for sure. Sean Lofton, all orange color with chrome numbers and wheels with outline, either in teal or blue or white. And the Hooters car numbers, yeah, that would be cool, Sean Lofton. I agree with that. Denny Hamlin sounds like he wants to get 60 career wins. Yeah, he did say that on his latest podcast preview. So he might stick around some more years at JGR. Yeah, I think he signed at least a 2-year deal, or he's working on a 2-year deal. He's working on a 2-year deal. Don't start that rumor. Who replaces Martin when he goes? Probably Sammy Smith, if I'm guessing. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be John Hunter Nemechek. I think it's going to be Sammy Smith. Jason Ratcliffe says, saying Ratcliffe is the crew chief for the 19 All-Star in 23, not with John Hunter Nemechek. Okay, so that's an interesting move. I don't know. John Hunter Nemechek just seems like an afterthought at Toyota for some reason, to me personally. I don't know. I don't feel like he's as ingrained there as Sammy Smith and Corey Heim are. I feel like Sammy Smith and Corey Heim are the future, and John Hunter Nemechek is sort of like just in case something opens up over there at 2311 or something like that. Old home guy, how do we make that happen? Get a Bologna Burger influence on all the orange shooters cars for that Martinsville race would be awesome. Yeah, I wish it could happen. I wish it could happen. No, KB would still be gone from JGR. Truex brought, I think, all the sponsorship with him from the 78. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair statement. But if Truex left, I still think they would have tried harder to keep Kyle Busch because they would have had somewhere to stick with their new younger driver. Angus 420, I doubt it will happen, but I wonder Junior will do a surprise running the Cup Series at Wilkesboro. If he runs another Cup Series race, that would be the race he runs, in my opinion. Richard Trickle is the oldest racer to be named Cup Rookie of the Year. That's a fact. And that speech is epic. So if you get a chance to, check it out. What I was getting at with the Harry and Dick Trickle is the age at which they were rookies. You were talking about earlier about all these young guys that are going out and retired. I believe these guys were coming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like just a different era. Just a different era. Now they pushing them in through here younger and younger. I remember the average rookie was like close to 30 back in the day. Let's see. Kenneth Ayers, I think it's true that also Truex has a Bass Pro Shop his whole life career in Cup pretty much. Yeah, he's pretty tight with Johnny Morris. Really, Casey Mears, would love to see that, says T-Van. That's the big rumor right now. Casey Mears to the 84 for Legacy in the All-Star car for a few races is the big rumor out there right now. I don't know if it's true or not. That's just what I've heard. Yeah, and Auto Owners or whatever it's called. Yeah, he's got the Auto Owners deal too. So yeah, he brings sponsorship with him. Truex is he's blessed as far as that goes. Joseph Mergulano says, I think we need to pull the Rick Ware Racing Charter because they suck. I would love to know what Rick Ware does and for a living and how you can have a fortune in a NASCAR team and can afford to be the owner of a NASCAR team. And also he owns IMSA teams. He owns drag racing teams. He's a motorsports man. He owns a lot of stuff. I always was a Kyle Busch hater, but I will admit I might be okay with him doing good with RCR, says Escobar. Yeah, I think a lot of people have had a change of heart. I think a lot of people are realizing they only hated him because he drove a Toyota or they were a Dale Jr. fan. Dennis Gillespie says, we're coming in at a later around age time. Yeah, back in the day for sure. Sammy Smith has money back in him, says Sean Lofton. Pilot and Flying J and TMC seem to have always sort of been associated with Sammy Smith. I don't know exactly how that's come about, but I'll tell you this, from watching him from when he was like 15, I saw him racing late models when he was like 15. That kid is good. I don't care who he's got backing him. That cat can drive. He is a freaking wheel man. Jason Ratcliffe says T-Van Amir's actually tweeted and asked if fans would like to see him return. LOL. So there you go. He might be leaking it himself. John Hunter needs to sign with Chevy. Yeah, I don't think he's as ingrained. Says Angus 420. I don't think he's as ingrained in Toyota as those other guys are, especially as we were mentioning sponsorship there. Jamie says, I just want to see Kurt in some races for this season. If Denny Hamlin could get that number 97 back, I'm with you. I hope they can get the 97 for him if he comes back for the races. It would just be icing on the cake. So sad. My two favorites are retiring. Yeah. Hopefully Kurt can get right and can sort of go out the way he wants to. I do hope to see him make a few races this season. And to 2311's credit, they said if he's right, they're going to put him in a car. I would love to know what Rick Ware does for a living. How can he afford to own NASCAR teams? I think he's real big in construction or real estate or something. Sky Talent, what do you think about the 2311 deal with John Hunter Nemechek as a sub-driver deal only to put Ty Gibbs in? I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, John Hunter Nemechek just doesn't seem to be as ingrained with Toyota as Corey Heim and Sammy Smith are. That's why I feel like if something happens to open up over there at 2311, that would probably be his best bet, because I feel like Joe Gibbs Racing has their eye on Corey Heim and Sammy Smith. That's just my thoughts on it. But nothing official. That's just my opinion on it. I haven't heard anything or nothing like that. Chad Huffman, Kirk Shelmerdine attempted to make the 2002 Daytona 500 in the number 80. J.Sk has a picture of it on his website. Sweet looking car, in my opinion. Kirk Shelmerdine tried really hard for a long time to get go get his stuff going in NASCAR. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him as a driver, but he was a great crew chief, and glad he's in the Hall of Fame. Claude Williams says, I hope you're wrong about Tony Stewart possibly going to Toyota. I would like to see him possibly bring Dodge back to NASCAR somehow. Ironically, I think he did try to bring Dodge back, and that's what I think put him on the outs with Ford. So that's why I say it wouldn't surprise me to see him go to Toyota, or in 2024, maybe Dodge or Honda or somebody, Volkswagen, jumps in there and he goes with them, because I think I think Stewart-Haas Racing and Ford might have a bit of a frosty relationship, comparatively speaking. Do you think Parker Kligerman will do a partial truck schedule like he's done in the past few years? Yes, I think Parker Kligerman will do a partial truck schedule like he has done in the past, for sure, and it will be with Henderson. Jamie Thornton says Claude Williams, Smokey is his own man. Machine for sure. I think he will go with whoever gets him the best deal. I agree with that. Like BB said, he's not set on one brand. Yep. Could be Dodge, Toyota, Ford, or Chevy. Yeah, and like I said, with 2024 coming up and they're changing the engine package, you might have more options. There might be a Honda option. There might be, a Volkswagen option. Dodge was just mentioned in there. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see them switch manufacturers. I think they were in the process of doing it, and the Dodge deal fell through. And so I think things are a little icy with Ford. I think things have been icy with Ford since they wouldn't let him sign Kyle Larson. I think it's just continued to go south from there. My drivers like Trickle smoked in the car. I can remember 2 packs of Winston's at the track. You just had to bring your own beer. Great promo, says John Lewis. Yeah, so back in the day, you got a couple packs with your ticket. Not a lot of people remember that. I don't remember that, but I remember the old timers I hung out with. They were always talking about it and how the sport wasn't nothing like it used to be. So even back then, people were talking about, oh, it just ain't like it used to be. So that's just part of getting older. Toyota will go after Sam Mayer, or could heavily pursue Josh Berry, Cup Ride. Yeah, those two. Yeah, Josh Berry is an underrated talent. Like, not underrated, but I just feel like nobody's trying to pick him up to go to the Cup series, and I think they're really missing out on a heck of a driver. Kirk Shelmerdine would have had 4 Cup championships if he had stayed as Dale Earnhardt's crew chief, says Mark Wachowski. Hell, he might have had 7 or 8. You don't never know. Dennis Gillespie, I really miss the man. I think the best Dale Earnhardt card with the first GM, Goodwrench. That's when he became known as the Man in Black. Yeah, that's definitely the most iconic car is the black Goodwrench car. I don't think John Hunter brings sponsorship with him, says Escobar. That's 100% his problem. Why did it take years to get Shelmerdine into the Hall of Fame? That's a good question, Kenneth. I can't answer that one for you. Bubba D. Wolf says, I feel like since John Hunter Nemechek didn't win a championship his first year in the Truck Series, he lost his mojo. I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't have a sponsor. Like some of the other guys do. That's why he's not in the Cup Series. I think his biggest mistake was leaving front row. If he had stayed at front row, I think they could have built something. Him and Michael McDowell would have something going on by now. Telling you Stewart is going to sell at the end of the season, sell his parts, says Kenneth Ayers. I don't know. He's all about Briscoe right now. So I feel like Briscoe is keeping him entertained, and he's got Priest. So he seems to be reinvested. He seems to be refreshed here recently about the NASCAR stuff. I would have agreed with you about a month ago, though. Just Murigano says, I really don't think Josh Berry will leave Junior Motorsports to go to the Toyota team. He would if the right deal came along. But I do think Junior has plans for him. I think that's who Junior is going to start his Cup team with if he can't get Truex. Bo Darville says, what's up, Bandit? John Hunter Nemechek is equal to his dad in talent. He can win if he's got a fast car, but he's not going to elevate anything. That's a fair statement a lot of people have made. I wouldn't disagree with that. I feel like Front Row Joe is a little underrated by a little bit, though. Dennis Gillespie, I definitely loved it when it was a Winston Cup. I also got a lot of Skull Bandit products. Yeah, they used to have the tobacco tents. I do remember the tobacco tents for the dips and stuff. I am old enough to remember that. That was mid-2000s before that was outlawed. Jason Ratcliffe, by the government, not by NASCAR. Jason Ratcliffe says, John Hunter Nemechek does have a fire alarm extinguisher company sponsor that follows him from team to team. So that's his sponsor. Yeah, and they seem to be good for about 6 or 7 races. So he does have one. Big Chickle had a cigarette lighter in his car. Every time I call, she came out. He would every time a caution came out, he would light a cigarette for sure. Sorry, I left out that Kirk Shelmerding's car was an all orange Hooters car, says Chad Huffman. Oh, so there you go. So there was an all orange one. We need to have another one though. Oh yeah, I didn't smoke, but still bought a few cartons. Sky Talent, Bo Darville did pretty good for Sam Hunt Racing and Xfinity. He gave them their best finishes to date, but you may be right. Yeah. Let's see here. Escobar, Ratcliffe, I don't think that it's that much money. Yeah, I think it's only like 5 or 6 Xfinity races, which would probably be like 3 or 4 Cup races. Speaking of John Herman Nemechek, when he drove the 45 car last year at Homestead, that Columbia paint scheme was awesome. Yeah, Columbia usually does a pretty good job with their paint scheme. And that one was a good one. The new money line 45 I saw for Tyler Reddick, that one got leaked. That one looks pretty good too. Dennis Gillespie says, you think they'll let Matt Kenseth in the Hall of Fame? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. John Hunter Nemechek is underrated. He should have won the Spring Richmond Xfinity, if not for spoiled brat. It is what it is. That's how old Ty Gibbs drives. Just you got to give it back to him, or he'll keep doing it. Josh Strickland says, my dad's brand was Winston. Somehow I could come back from Talladega with cartons. I missed the free promos at the track, says Josh Strickland. So there you go. Back in the day, it was a commonplace thing to do. Got to be careful. I just realized we were talking about all that. Probably going to get a bad mark for that. I forgot you can't talk about that. So I'm gonna have to find ways to talk around it. If it was a Cup team, Barry would go, especially a top tier. Yeah, I agree 100%, Kenneth Akers, especially a top tier Cup Toyota team. Could get him cheap at first. Yeah, I think he would go too. You'd be crazy not to go to a top level Cup team if you get the opportunity. No matter what it is. Jason Ratcliffe, no, it's not much money, but it's usually 5+ races. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 5 or 6 races. They're usually good for that. Jamie Thornton says, Dennis Gillespie, did you miss the induction ceremony? They just had it. Kenseth is now in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. I was kind of wondering. I was like, I think they let him in. I don't think they held him. I don't think they held him at the gate. So yeah, he got in. I was wondering if I missed something. Bubba D. Wolf, I don't watch awards ceremonies, so that's just one of my weird quirks. I was really impressed with Josh Berry in 2022. I've been watching him since the Cars Tour. He kicked our butts regularly in the Cars Tour. I was helping Craig Moore, and then some other people as well. Josh Berry's the truth. Bobby McCarty, also the truth in the Cars Tour. A lot of good. Jared Fryer, another one. Lane Riggs I think Lane Riggs is going to run trucks next year. Lane Riggs was a Cars Tour guy. He just won the NASCAR National Championship. He's pretty good. A lot of good. Caden Honeycutt, Cars Tour guy. He's driving trucks next season, at least for the first 5 or 6 races. Let's see here. Well, hang on, Dennis. I was about to read that. Let's see here. Jason Ragland said, that being said, the entire Gibbs team treated us great in Victory Lane. Yeah, so there you go. The Gibbs organization is a first-class organization. They do things professionally. You can't take anything away from them there. Kenneth Ayers, as Earnhardt once said, stand your ground. A lot of these drivers seem scared to stand their ground with Ty Gibbs. Just give it back to them as good as you got it. I agree with you 100%, Kenneth Ayers. That's basically all these young drivers. If they give it to you, give it back to them, and that 9 times out of 10 will put an end to it. Jason Ratcliffe, it's an experience my family will never forget. Yep, it's a pretty cool deal when you go to a race and your driver wins and you got the gear on and you're in Victory Lane and you get to see them hanging out and do stuff like that. It's always a great experience. Mark Wachowski said Reynolds and Winston were without a doubt the best days NASCAR ever had. The cars, the drivers, the fans, the pit access, the prices, etc. Yeah, I agree. And that's because one sponsor got behind the sport, and it was just easier to please one sponsor. They had enough money to keep the whole thing going. It was just a different way of doing it, and that's why that business model, when they left, has suffered, and now NASCAR has had to reorganize and sort of figure out a different business model. And whether or not it works is going to be another story or situation here. Of all the guys they talk smack about racing hard, Ty raced hard in the finale. Only Sam Mayer actually did it. Yeah. So once again, a lot of tough talk, and only one guy followed through. Is Parker Kligerman going to run some truck races like he does in the past? I'm also surprised Jimmy Johnson is only doing 5 races. Yes, Parker Kligerman is probably going to run with Henderson part-time once again, Joseph. So, yeah, he is going to run part-time. Jimmy Johnson's only doing 5 races because he's basically retired. Let's see. Mark Martin fan for life. Evening, everyone. Late to the party. Celebrating my 55th today. Any word on Rayum? However you say that word. Racing employees that were hurt in the fire. As far as I know, they're all okay. Some of them had smoke inhalation and stuff like that, but I think the rest of them are okay. I know a few of them suffered burns, but I think they're all going to recover. Unfortunate situation. Hopefully they can get that back in order. I think Parker is still running the 75 truck. Yeah, he's going to run the 75 truck partially. He announced that last year, but that was before he announced the full-time Xfinity deal. But it should all line up as far as I know, because I don't think any of it conflicts. If they decide to have a Legends race for the North Wilkesboro All-Star Weekend, they fielded 20 cars in it. What drivers that are retired would you like to see in it? I think it would be great. I think you'd have to see. Everybody would be down there, so I would imagine Junior and all of his friends. Like Junior is friends with Elliott Sadler, so I feel like it would be Junior, Elliott Sadler. What's a spicy one? We could Jeremy Mayfield. Let's throw a spicy one in there. That would never happen. They wouldn't let him do it. Casey Kane would be another one you'd like to see in there. Ryan Newman would be a good one to have in there. I mean, there's all kinds of guys you can pull. Michael Waltrip looks like he still wants to race, so Michael Waltrip would be another good one to be in there. Sven Larson, Winston Cup for the win. He's saying there, yep, 100%. Winston Cup was awesome back in the day. I had on Napa Elliott gear, says Jason Ratcliffe. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure they're used to that. That's what just about everybody has on at the racetrack if they're not wearing Junior stuff. Mark Martin fan for life. Happy birthday, says Beast 1624. So happy birthday, Mark Martin fan for life. And a bunch of happy birthdays in the chat. Clash Picks says Mark Bukowski, the 41, the 8, and the 22. I like the 8. The 41 is also a good pick, and the 22 is also a good pick. But I'm going with the 8 in the Clash. Joseph says, yes, I heard Chase. He was interested in coming back if you could put a deal together. I think he would definitely be interested in doing that. If they market the cars tour right, it can easily be as big as the Truck Series, says Escobar. I agree with that 100%. If it's not already close to as big as the Truck Series with that group behind it as it is. Jason Ratcliffe, all excited to see NASCAR season later. I'm not going to be far behind him here, so a few more minutes and then I'm going to call it a day. How close are you to Bristol? Would you go to Cletus's Ranger race at Bristol, says Old Home Guy? If I don't have a conflicting late model deal, I will try to get to Bristol this year. Kenneth Ayers says, no rumor has it Mayfield may be in a NASCAR race soon. That's what my source has told me. So there you go. Some people are reporting that Jeremy Mayfield is close to doing some type of NASCAR return. Remember the All-Star Bristol race with Junior Johnson? I don't remember that one. I remember they had like an All-Star, a senior All-Star race or something like that, and somebody got hurt really bad, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if that's the same one we're talking about here, Sven. I remember somebody getting hurt. I don't remember watching the actual race. Are you talking about when they? Oh, no. I do know what you're talking about now. They raced like on the infield or something. Yeah, I do remember that race. Yeah. It was absolute. They were just moving each other out of the way. That was a good time. They were racing like Legends cars or something like that. Tan Dog 58. That All-Star Legend race at Bristol was a great idea until Larry Pearson's crash. Oh, so that is the one where Larry Pearson got hurt. So yeah, there you go. So happy to have NASCAR back. The off season sucks. So yeah, there you go. It is good that the off season is over. The 16, the 5, or the 22 will win the Clash. I like the 5, the 8, and the 22. That's what I'm going with. It was a Legends All-Star race. They raced on the track with late models. Yeah, there was also another one at Charlotte that I was getting mixed up with, where they just raced around the little Legends car track at Charlotte. So there's 2 of them, but I'm remembering the one I remember is the one Larry Pearson got hurt in. So yeah, it was cool until that happened. I want to see Jimmy Spencer in anything but a Speedo, says Mark Bukowski. So there you go. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys with that thought. Jimmy Spencer in a Speedo. I appreciate it. It was fun, guys. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.